Why are people leaving the church? The answer shouldn't be surprising. Let's take a look at some of the possibilities.
Welcome to another session of Message from the Streets, Just a Point of View. And the topic today is a continuance of the last topic I spoke on, and that is why are people leaving the church. And a quick recap about why people are leaving the church. One of the reasons was that the prophets for profit, people are tired of being shaken down by these pastoral gangsters, in a sense, selling them snake oil, so forth and so on. Also, another issue is that in a lot of the churches, in certain communities, they have a loud voice or representation of the church. White nationalists is being perpetrated in those congregations, and people just not feeling that because people have an understanding of God that's far beyond the indoctrination of Catholicism. And I say that because within Catholicism, that's another reason, but I'm not going to touch on that in this particular session. But real briefly, a lot of the things that have been generated and has the face of the so-called Christian church or the followers of the Christ has been magnified through Catholicism. And Catholicism doesn't have a very good representation for many reasons. And going forward, a lot of people think that the church is not being effective or addressing social issues dealing with their congregations. And before I continue, let me say this, that it is not all churches. It's just the ones that have been getting publicity, and this may have been deliberate in certain aspects, but some of these prophets for profit, they have bought the stage on television and radio, and their petition for money and things of that nature is well known, from the oldest to very young people, within the United States and throughout the world. So those are a few reasons that I expounded on previously, why people are leaving the church. And a few more reasons is that people feel that they may go to church and the church is not there for them. I'm not talking about all churches again. I'm talking about some churches. I heard of instances where though the church was very well off financially and the members were having hard times and hardships, and these were members that was coming and paying their tithes and doing the things that the church required of them, and yet when they were in turmoil, they couldn't get any assistance. There's one case that I can think of dealing with a church in this area in Washington, D.C. I feel the name of the church, but it has some figures: Daddy Grace, Daddy McCullough, Daddy this and this and this and that. It's a well-known church, and they got a lot of money and a lot of property, and there was an elderly lady that was living on one of their properties, and she couldn't pay the bill, and the church was at that time, this was a few years ago, evicting her. I don't know whatever came of that, but just to even think of that your church that has property all over the world going to evict you. I think this lady was well into her 80s or something. So that is another disheartening, representation of the church that have the people to leaving. And, I'm going to briefly speak on some of the alternative reasons that people are I believe in these reasonings are biblical based. They said in I believe it was Timothy, the book of Timothy, that in the latter times people will be led astray by doctrines of demons and seducing spirits. So in this day and time, there's a lot of information that people are acquiring, and through this information, they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So they're saying, you know what? They looking at these certain instances that has been committed in the name of Christianity, or people that follow the Christ, or in the go to the church or the temples, so forth and so on, and they use that as the rationalization that why they don't believe this way or that way, or they're not going to acknowledge this or that, and all the time. This is my personal perspective. A lot of times, these people haven't read the book. These people haven't had a personal experience with the energy that is, endowed in the book, the spirit. So because they haven't had these experiences, they think everybody else's experiences is a fairy tale. But again, as I said in the last segment, who are you to say, what is what for a person's own personal experience? And it's so simple. When you feel joy, that don't mean that everybody in the world is feeling joy. So when you feel sadness, everybody is not feeling sadness just because you are. And when God is dealing with you and you have been invited into that spirit or that energy or that frequency, and nobody else don't get it, you don't get it, but that don't mean it didn't happen. So that is another reason people are choosing for frivolous reasons. They are choosing because of the choices that they have chosen to embrace things that are more connected with the physical realm. I talk to people and I listen to people with different perspectives, and I do agree with these perspectives to a point. A lot of people, they want to own the earth. They want all the property. They want all the material things. And in that sense, I'm going to have to disagree. Material things are nice, and these are rewards for our actions and our intelligence, and, our, how we do what we do. But this is not the end to the means. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So no one has taken anything that they have gathered in this physical world into the next life or into the next experience. You don't take your clothes, you don't take your cars, you don't take your houses, you don't take your children, you don't take nothing. Job said that, naked I came in the world and naked I'm gonna leave without. I'm going to leave the world. So these material ideologies that people are embracing, they want to occupy the whole earth. I think that is frivolous. The earth has been given to humanity to come to a calculated reason that it don't belong to no one, none of us. It don't belong to the white man. It don't belong to the black man. It don't belong to the Egyptians or the Muslims. It don't belong to no particular group of people. The earth was given to the people to share and bring about a higher way of operation through humanity. And what has happened is that through these divisions of what people identify as their religion or their spiritual truth, division has come about. A lot of people say that many of the wars on the planet has been in the cause of religion or in the case of religions. And because of that, they look at the history, so they say, you know what, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of people killing people. But this thing is bigger than, the religious sects, because we're dealing with a spiritual war that starts within. Nothing that's going on this planet, but say, the United States bombing this country, people starving over here, and people being persecuted over there. This is the energy or the spirit that's coming through man that's manifesting these days, where people want to point fingers at religious systems. Now, I know many religious systems on the outside of Christianity have different beliefs. I have learned to become tolerant, because you know what, at the end of the day, I'm not going to get judged in the sense or have to be held in account for other grown people choices. People choose this behavior or this path, and other people choose that behavior and that path. I know what the teachers say. Hey man, don't be upset if they reject what you say. Go give them your peace, and if they receive it, bless them. If they reject it, brush your feet off and keep it moving. And that's what a lot of people don't do. They want to argue and they want to get into debates and things of that nature. And it may start off innocent, but you got to know that these situations give opportunities to other entities and entities to come in to bring in chaos. Now, again, back to the main topic: why are people leaving the church? This is a question that is baffling a lot of people, and the people that seem to be most baffled, me myself think a lot of those people are the people that are actually causing these situations. They're not being authentic with the people. They're not being real with the people. They're having people caught up in rituals and activities that took place 2,000 years ago on the planet. Whereas though that these things, they may be good for the practice of the personal individual, you can't force this type of behavior or conduct upon a person. It's certain basic elementary mechanics of belief systems, and those are the main things that people need to grasp on. But when people start feeling like that you're trying to control them, direct them in a type of way that they feel uncomfortable with, it's like the prodigal son. You gotta let them go their way. You can't hold them captive, because whatever path we choose, the Creator is on every path. If we go to the highest heights or the deepest lows, the Creator is there. And everybody's path is not the same. And just because a person doesn't follow your path doesn't mean that they are lost. And even if they are lost, they may be lost for a moment to learn what they gotta learn to get on the path. So again, people are leaving the church because sometimes they think that the church is not tolerant. It's just in the frequency of the Pharisees, condemning bylaws, these laws, not talking, not reasoning. Before I close this up, I know a young lady, her mother had passed. She was in hospice. She was preparing for death, and she attended this church, going regularly, so forth and so on. And as she's on her deathbed, she passed away last week. She was on her deathbed. The preacher of her church, or the reverend, or the deacon, or whatever his position was, never came to visit her, never called her. And there was another lady in the congregation. And this lady, she actually gathered some resources and food and things together, if I recall correctly, and brought it to the lady. And so the lady's daughter, she asked the lady that brought the resources and things, where was the pastor? She said that, the pastor, he's out of town. Just listen to that. He's out of town. He's out of town on vacation. One of his members, loyal members, is on their deathbed, and he couldn't visit. He couldn't pick the phone up. He didn't even send a card. And this is the disappointment that a lot of people have when it comes to certain behavior of people that's representing the cloth, or saying they're standing in the gap for the Christ, or they're standing in the gap for the Most High. They are, a bridge or a sign on the world road. People say, man, I'm not going over that bridge. I'm not following that sign. I'm looking at your demonstration, and you foul. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, this is just the point of view. And again, I'm not talking about all churches, all pastors, all whoever hold those positions of authority, but the ones that I am speaking of, you know who you are. Your congregation know who you are. Before I go, I gotta say this. A month ago, there was a lot of lies being told on the stage of the evangelical church, and insane thing about it, these televangelists, they lied on God. I spoke about this last session. They lied on God, said God told them this, gave them dreams, and the issue was about Donald Trump, in which everybody right now today know that it was not true. But guess what? Those people are still in those churches. Those people are still supporting, their shepherds. See, the teachings say that the good shepherd, he's gonna lay down his life for his sheep, but the higher hand, when the wolf come, he gonna lead his sheep. And this is what these people got to realize, that their higher hands are not in the order of the Christos, the Christ, the Messiah, the anointed one. They're in it to win it for themselves. They have agendas that is beyond the teachings of the biblical text. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you this message in love, and I leave you this message in peace. Peace, love, and grace be upon all humanity. And the people that are in the dark places, even when I myself go to dark places, there's always time, as long as we got breath in our bodies, to make an adjustment and recover and repent and turn from the errors of our ways. Peace.